Welcome to another episode with your host, Robert E. Hansen, psychic medium, author, and public speaker.
Hi, welcome back. Today we're talking about you are what you seek. This is a very, very common expression in spiritual practice. Certain religious communities use this language. You are what you seek. Simply put, that if you are seeking something, if you want something, if you are searching for something, the instinct is that you become almost not obsessed, but driven in a particular direction. So, for example, if you want to become a great artist, if you enjoy the use of pen and brush or creating some kind of artistic expression, that part of your persona, that part of your being, begins to seek, begins to search for the ways that can be enhanced, that can be improved, whether it be through a teacher, whether it be taking classes online, whether it be studying through books or DVDs or in a video. You begin to search for how to work with a brush and pen, perhaps color combinations, the use of different types of graphite. Perhaps you're learning how to use calligraphy, India ink, various mediums of artistic expression, and it becomes part of your persona. Now that becomes a particular area of interest and focus. Many people have that. They have hobbies. They have very intense hobbies, very, very dedicated hobbies, and they really kind of establish it. You know, you may see on their bumper sticker they love to go fishing, or they're a big passionate person of the beach. They go every single day, and I'm a sand under my feet kind of a person. And if someone were to ask them, you know, what kind of a person are you? I mean, what are you? What do you love to do? And they'd say, oh my goodness, I'm a beach person. Oh, no, I love to do my artwork. Oh, no. And it expresses a big part of their interest level. And that interest level is generated by a various amount of circumstances, whether it be cultural, religious, experiential. The list is endless of what could trigger somebody to pursue a particular path or a particular practice. That I'm pointing to in the external phenomena. In the world of men and women, whether it be car racing, football games, art, piano concerts, rock and roll, you name it, people have this seeking. And part of this seeking actually personifies or begins to typify the identity of the person. You know, you meet certain people, and let's say we're very, very famous in what they do. Let's say someone's a great country western star, and you get a chance to meet Willie Nelson, for example. And you meet him, and every finger that points at him says he's the rebel cowboy singer, he's the guy, he's the original old school, you know, country western rock star, the real radical guy. And people say he has become that. That's a living persona of what he is. And what he has sought has transformed him into this legend called Willie Nelson, right? Other people have it with, not as famous, of course, but other areas of life. Let's say your dad was a big fisherman, and he loved fishing. And someone says, you know, tell me a little bit about your pop. You say, oh my God, salt air flowed through his lungs. Salt air was what rejuvenated him. He loved to work with fish. He loved being up at 3 a.m, going out on the bay. And he spent the whole day there, him and his friends. And they would fish and they would laugh and they would do all kinds of stuff. And they'd come back and clean their boats and have a barbecue. And it completely identified my dad to us as the fishing guy. My father was a fishing man. That's how it's portrayed. He may have been a construction worker and other things and a great dad, but his primary reference, his primary reputation on the street with people that he was close to said, oh, no, that guy's the fishing guy. You want to know about fish? That's him. He actually became like a transformed person in a way to what he was seeking. He sought fulfillment through the vehicle of fishing, through the fresh air, the salt water, being out on the bay, or perhaps he was freshwater and he went up to the lakes in upstate New York, for example, and he spent his time doing that. So the interest merged with the person, and they almost become inseparable. One is true of the other. In psychic work and in spiritual work, but primarily in spiritual work, is the same thing. When people have a certain longing, a certain feeling, a certain sense of being connected to something, they begin to seek it. Now, I want to be clear about this. When you are seeking something, it suggests very strongly that it is not yet there. You're still in the looking mode, right? You're seeking something, suggesting that you want to have something more added on to what you have already found, right? If you have found it completely, then there is no more seeking, right? I mean, if you fall in love with somebody and you absolutely sense and recognize within you that this is the one person, and they in turn say the same thing back to you, and it is an authentic, loving relationship, your seeking has come to a close, fundamentally, right? I mean, you're no longer seeking partnership with anyone else. You have found the partner that you were, quote, looking for. Now, you can't go out in the world and just go find these people, as I'm sure all of you probably really realize. You know, many people are trying to seek somebody, find somebody, locate somebody, connect with them somehow. And in some very rare cases, you may hear of stories where some folks have come back and said, oh, yes, I went out seeking a companion. And what did I know? On my vacation, I run into the guy that's working at the exercise gym. And all of a sudden, boom, what I was looking for showed up. I never expected it. I'm, 5,000 miles away from home in another country, and I walk in, and there's a guy standing there, and I turn around, he turns around, next thing you know, we have been together for 35 years, and I never thought I would find him there. I was seeking someone like him, but I had no idea it would be him. This is kind of what is referred to a little bit as kind of an enlightenment experience, where you don't expect it, it comes spontaneously, and you immediately bring it into your soul because your soul, your essence, recognizes the fulfillment it gets from that experience. All the other people you may have dated, have run into, may have met, may have been nice, maybe not so nice, whatever the variation is, but they didn't fulfill you like this particular person. And the next thing you know, you meet this person and you feel very, very fulfilled, that you feel complete, you feel whole. And again, you may make the expression to somebody, I have finally found who I was looking for. I have been seeking and I have found it. In certain scriptures, they also talk about this, and they say, seek and ye shall find. In other words, if you're not seeking, you're not looking, you're not searching, it implies that you feel, as your life is now, complete, right? You don't feel there's any reason to search. Now, you may have anxiety, and you may have fear, and you may have worries, you may have doubts. It doesn't mean you go outside of yourself to seek solution. Many people try to do all of this on their own internally. They just do, and they perhaps talk to other people and stuff, and they try to get some sense of serenity, peaceful feelings by going internally and seeking only within themselves. The problem with this is that you can only see what your mind will allow you to see. If your defenses are up, if your egoic defenses are up, if your fears are there, if your worries are there, you may try to go internally and seek, but it's extremely difficult for people to do it because there is always some kind of a block, some kind of a shift, some maximizing of anxiety. I can't go any further. I don't want to do it. Makes me too nervous. All of that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, the seeking kind of comes to a halt because they just kind of throw their hands up and say, this is the way life is, right? And then there are people who really start to get a sense that there is something more than the self. And they begin to seek. They begin to seek it through meditation. They get it to seek it through prayer. They may seek it by going to the beach or walking in the woods. They may seek it just sitting in their backyard. And what I mean by seeking is they are sensing there is something greater than themselves. I'm not talking in a dramatic way. I'm saying it's greater than themselves in that they sense or are seeking the presence of love. They're seeking the presence of compassion. They're seeking the presence of being deeply connected to that which we would call life itself, the light of love, real compassion, they seek this. And these folks begin to become that. They begin to move away from certain things that upset their system. They push away behavior. Perhaps they distance themselves from upsetting situations. And they begin to seek the serenity and the peace that is available. The great Saint Paul said, "You will come, if you seek deeply enough, the peace beyond all understanding." And that seeking is driven by this thirst, this spiritual thirst that flows through your system. And if you allow it to rise, if you really are true to it and you say, yes, I am seeking more peace, I am seeking more comfort, a miracle begins to open up within you. That it does. It begins to open because finally, the one that says, I am in control, I am in charge, I can do it, I don't need anybody else, don't tell me what to think, that personality begins to get very frustrated because it never seems to get settled. It never seems to really get there, right? And you've tried all the distractions, the money, all the distractions, all of the vacations, all of the movies, all of the exciting things you've done, the videos you've looked at, the CDs you have, all that stuff still hasn't gotten you there. And you are still seeking, knowing, and saying, something is missing within me. It is in that seeking that you become different. And in that difference, in that rising difference that says to the universe at large, I need to connect more intimately. I need to have this experience of oneness with all things. This is what drove the Christ. This is what drove Ramana Maharshi. This is what drove Krishnamurti. This is what drove the Buddha. This is what drove almost all spiritual practitioners throughout time. They were seeking, and then finally something let go. Something let go. But they were absolutely willing to search and to seek. Seeking from the soul. Seeking from the soul. And what did not make sense to them, what did not feel correct to them, they let it go. They let it walk through their system. They looked at it closely. They said, this is not, excuse me, this is not what I'm seeking. I am seeking more than this idea. I'm seeking more than what is my imagination is creating. I am seeking this oneness with all things. So to become that which you seek, if you are seeking limitation, if you are thinking and seeking only things of the world, you will become that. If you are seeking to become an aggressive person, if you practice aggression, you will become that. If you're seeking and looking for events that take you out of yourself in some kind of way of distracting, and you seek to be distracted all the time, you will become that. But if you are seeking to fall back in love with yourself, if you're seeking to come to oneness, if you're seeking to come into union with all things and feel like you want to seek nature, you want to seek the love of the universe, if you want to seek compassion, if you want to seek peace, it just requires you to open up and allow the other things to move through your soul. Don't hold on to them. Don't attach them. If they rise, if they fall, it doesn't matter. As long as the candle lit within inside of you continues to move through the darkness and you're continuing to look, right? The light of that candle will guide you exactly to what you seek. And one day you will find that peace and compassion and the ease of living has showed up on your soul's doorstep. And the very thing that you have been seeking has been there the whole time. And all of the distractions, all of the other events, all of the other incredible experiences, and perhaps your money and this and vacations, and all of that will always leave because they're limited by time, they're limited by distance, they are temporary flows through in your consciousness, right? But when you are at peace and you are settled and your seeking has come to an end because you know that you're at one with everything, there is no need to rush, there is no need to push. The only thing that you have to seek is this moment. And this moment doesn't need seeking. This moment is here. You're sitting in it. You're standing in it. You're kneeling in it. You're laying down in it. No matter what you do, the seeking is in the present moment. And that, my friends, is the gift I wanted to share with you guys today.